Okay. Well, hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody. Come on in. As you guys are coming in, we're really excited to be able to talk about our Grandview Estates partnership today and all the exciting opportunities that are there. You will note on the bottom of your screen, there's a little Q&A button there. Take a chance to go down there and tell us where you are watching in from today. And we're excited to have you all here. So we'll give a couple more minutes for everybody to get in and get settled before we start up. Hello, James. Nice to have you on today.
Where's James coming in from?
Grand Bayman.
Ah, okay, got it.
He's
That's
with
it.
us here in Belize, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, good, good.
But
Welcome, James. Good to
Jamal
have you
from
here.
Canada. Let's see, a couple more minutes. If you guys just joined us, take a chance to type in the Q&A button down there where you're calling in from or where you're watching in from, and we will get started in just 1 minute. Chantal from Canada, welcome. Got a Canada contingent today. I know you all
Yeah,
are
right.
in the tropics. This is exciting.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're so tired of winter up there. Yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead and get started as we head into this? So we have two very exciting guests that are on today that are going to be sharing all about the Grandview Estates property and the development that's happened there and the opportunity for you to get involved and change your lifestyle and live in the Caribbean potentially. So Gil is going to be joining us, and Mike Gil was one of the original directors of the project, and he has been there with his wife to be able to spearhead it and get the property and the location off the ground and some exciting development. And then we have Mike Cobb, who is also the partner in this project. He is the founder and director, CEO for ECI Development. So these two gentlemen are going to be taking it and going off the ground here today. So why don't you go ahead and take it for us, gentlemen, and get started.
Alyssa, thank you. Let me just jump in with a point of clarification and then hand it off to Gil. ECI is one of the marketing firms for Grandview. I am not a partner in it. ECI is not a partner in it, but we're a marketing partnership for Grandview Estates because so many folks are looking at Costa Rica, and we wanted to be able to have something that worked for folks who want Costa Rica right now. We actually have a very large piece of property near Limon, but we're still probably 5 to 7 years away from having anything there for availability, actual product. Gil is someone I have known now for 15, maybe even 18 years. He and I spoke at many conferences together as competitors, but we always enjoyed each other's company. We would go out to dinner. Sometimes I would go out with him and his wife, and we just had a tremendous time. But over the years, I developed an incredible respect for Gil because despite the ups and downs, the constant challenges of being in the development business in a country like Costa Rica or any of the countries that we work in, the uh, the tenacity, the persistence, the completion that Gil showed, and the care for his customers. He always did what was right. And I paid attention to that. And so, as we started to look for people to partner with in Costa Rica, who could actually, deliver the product to the client, would care about the client, but also had this incredible track record of success, Gil came immediately to the top of the list. So Gil, it's been an honor to get to know you over many years as a friend and as a colleague, and now as a business partner with your project in Grandview. So I really am excited about what you've done already. You're on phase 4, and you've built the clubhouse, you've built the roads, people are living there, and you're going to go into all of that. So I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I just wanted to make sure people understood that you really are someone who has walked the walk. You've walked through the toughest times, 2008, 2009, 2010, when sales were dismal, if you had any, and you came out the other side and you've done what you said you were going to do. And there's truly nothing more important in my world than that kind of delivery to the folks that you made promises to. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Gil, and I'll be around and look forward to lots of questions and answers at the end and hearing what you have to tell us today.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate the kind words. True or not, I appreciate it. And the same back to you, though. This is, I think the time is right as well. That we've struggled through the years and just kept our nose to the grindstones. And with the world as it is today, there's so much interest and so much desire for a plan B. It's just great that we're in a place where we can provide that, right? It's not just starting out in a dream, it's here so people can do it. And we're ready to go. We've greased the skids, we've made everything as easy as possible to move. I mean, you've got Nicaragua, Belize, I'm in Costa Rica. If we don't have something you desire, it's a big world, but Latin America, we've got it pretty much covered. So I'm going to go right to I have a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to use that as my format, make sure we cover the things that we want to cover. So you'll have to forgive me. Okay, we gotta. Let me stop this screen share for just 1 second. We're going to go to this one. Pardon me, I'm not a computer expert and I probably don't have to explain that to you. But we just did this one and I'm not sure why it's not working well. Excuse me, folks, just give me 1 second. Mike, we just did this, right?
We did. And if you, I can see your screen when you're screen sharing. It's just the PowerPoint's not filling up the whole. It's not going to full screen. So somewhere down at the bottom of that, you should be able to click, full screen or something on the lower right side of your PowerPoint. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see it either. That's weird.
Let me just give me 1 more second to stop that.
Sure.
See if there's another. Very strange. I worked with this all afternoon and it was perfect.
Can you, Gil, on the top
Yes.
there's a button that says from current slide. Can you click that right there and then go left a little bit? No, more, it's more over where it says from the beginning. Yeah, that one.
Mhm.
That will. And then
Yeah.
Resume.
Slides. It says end the slideshow first. Should I close it?
You should be, yeah. Okay, so then there you go.
There. Okay. Whew. Boy, I hope the rest of this isn't that challenging. Okay, we're started. Sorry, folks. Okay, Grandview Estates, living and investing in Costa Rica. And quickly, we're going to do an overview. Tourism's a big deal in Costa Rica. It's really lifted that country up over the years. Healthcare culture, Fortune 500, and Caribbean area growth, construction, and Grandview Estates. So that's what we're going to do. Good question. Why are people moving to Costa Rica? I have to say that over the years, the cost of living has been a real impetus for people. And we actually designed it with that in mind, because years ago, the Pacific side was getting all the attention, but everything was $1 million. Okay. And we saw back then that there are baby boomers coming along. They may be having a pension or Social Security, 1,500 a month or so. Those are the people that we were attracted to. And the Caribbean lent itself to the idea as well, because it wasn't overpriced like it was then and it is today. The healthcare costs, fantastic healthcare. Unfortunately, some of our family members have had to use it over the years. and it was just like the States. Maybe the infrastructure is a little bit different, but the care is fantastic, and you're not going to feel like you're in some third world country. It's very, very good. Of course, the climate, the horseback riding, and the river rafting and zip lines, all that stuff you know about. Uh, something that's come to fruition over the last few years also is the rental income uh, that you can get with a part-time home down there. So if you're not there for a few months, we have folks on site that help you clean the house, help you rent it out, and with Airbnb, VRBO, very, very easy to turn that empty home into an income. And future stability and retirement planning. I think that goes back to the costs as well, right? You want to make sure that your costs are held at bay, and that you're not going to have to continue to work till you're 95 years old, unless you want to. Of course, we've got government stability. One of the most important things to remember is that Costa Rica abolished its army back in 1948. All right. They could see that why would they be killing each other? They love the country. They love their brothers and sisters in the country. What are they doing, right? So they woke up a long time ago, and they said, let's abolish this army. Let's take that money that we're wasting and put it into healthcare and education for the people of our country. So that's what's been going on for, 50 or 70 years. And, you know, from what I see, I didn't grow up in that school district, but what I see is they get a fantastic education, and they really made a smart decision by not spending that money on an army. Business opportunities. A lot of people that I talk with are hoping to do especially some virtual things and online businesses. That's a fantastic thing right now in Costa Rica. They're giving you uh, what do I want to say? Before, it was very strict about working. Now they're attracting people. Say, hey, you're going to come down here and you're going to be working online. You're not taking one of our locals' jobs. So they're giving you a lot of benefits as far as the cost of moving there, the taxation, the importation of cars. So, and also like me, I came in there and we started the development. And, it's been a fantastic lot of years. It's been very difficult, but all businesses are, right? Uh, Investments, the whole country is just exploding. When you go, especially into the city areas, you just see these new huge buildings, HP and IBM. It's incredible. Strong economy, and we already mentioned the baby boomers retiring and investing. I would have to say, especially Grandview Estates. I'm not a city guy at all, so downtown San Jose and the Central Valley was just not my thing. And I don't relate to people who are city folks like that, right? Because it's two different lifestyles. So I was immediately attracted to the Caribbean side of the country. And to invest in that and to make that part of my life was a very, very easy thing. And all these activities that you see here are just part of everyday life in reality. Um, you're not hustling and bustling to work down to your business. You're enjoying your life. So, and that's actually us rafting. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done. And we have one of the best rivers in the world, about 15 minutes from our project, the Rio Pequari. Of course, hiking, it's just unlimited. We have a 1 million-acre national park in back of Grandview, so you could probably hike for the rest of your life and never cover the same trail twice. Because we're on the Caribbean, it's unbelievable fishing. It's really an untapped resource for sure. The Pacific, it's still, I mean, there's not a lot of fishermen there, but there's even less on the Caribbean. So the snook and the tarpon and the tuna fishing is awesome. Of course, diving, and I'm a scuba instructor. That's the original point of me moving to Costa Rica. I thought I was going to start a scuba business. And then I saw the real estate opportunity because scuba businesses don't, it's a great lifestyle, but it's not a way to get rich. You're always struggling to keep the doors open. So um, I thought the real estate was a just better option for my time there. And that's my son on the horse. He came down and he was part of our building staff and oversaw a lot of our building. And of course, all the natural birds. We've got toucans and parrots and macaws and literally in the backyard. The health and hygiene best in Latin America. We have a brand new hospital in town. Town is about 15 minutes away, and they have some bigger hospitals in San Jose should you need a different kind of care. But one of the things that people used to be afraid of years ago was, what are we gonna do if we get sick? Well, we've got really the best care that I can uh, talk about because I've been there for some minor stuff, and I just got to say it's a very comforting climate. They're not there for the money. It's not all about making $30,000 a day. So it's something that you'll be very comfortable to use. And as a permanent resident, should you decide to become one, it's very, very affordable to become part of the social health care system. So it's not like it's going to cost you $3,000 a month for health care. Um, the rest of the stuff, social security system, they really take care of the people. They're very proactive about making sure that all the workers are covered with insurances because you're going to have people building your house. You want to make sure that the people working there have proper coverage and don't sue you for anything. So all that's just part of their philosophy over the years is to take care of their people. As you can see, 28% of the budget used for public health. Their life expectancy is a little bit more than the Americans right now. Very, very smart population as well. And I'm not so sure about the agencies for emergencies or disasters. I'm trying to think of any we've had. I mean, they have the Red Cross and they have all kinds of ways to get you to the hospital if you need it, but I don't even remember any disasters, so that's good. Residency in Costa Rica is probably one of the most easy things that you can do, especially if if you can prove that you make $1,000 a month per person. Okay, you automatically can be a pensionado is the type of residency that you can have. Very easy. It's like 2 pages of paperwork, and you're good to go. There's other types for younger people who may not be there yet. Um, Investors and things like that. There's several ways to get residency. The most common that I deal with, though, is definitely the pensionado. So uh, to do that, you'd have to be part of the social health care system, and it's very inexpensive. So you'll be taken care of health wise. How much does it cost to live here? Look at the bottom line of about 1,500 a month because we're all different, right? We're all going to have different interests and activities. But in general, once you purchase your land and house, you can live a very nice lifestyle on 1,500 a month. Amongst the most important, now my wife and I are fully covered with health insurance. Okay, and that's fully covered. That doesn't, there's no pharmacy bills, there's no co-pays, that's all included. And my wife and I pay $80 a month. And the rest of the stuff you can look at there. I'd, I'd say probably groceries is going to be your most expensive item. Usually, household help is very, very reasonable. Actually, this housekeeper and gardener, just a housekeeper, we pay 18 bucks a day maybe, and they help with the house and cleaning and all that stuff. So it's easy to get help. These fruits, look at the size of these things. Guanabana is the one in the bottom right. In Jamaica, they call it sour sop. And then you have on top carambola. Those things are huge as well. And part of our lifestyle is to live healthy. You grow your own fruits, grow your own vegetables. You know, organically is so easy. we're not just eaten up by bugs and stuff like that. Very, very little pesticide use. It's very, very easy to live a healthy lifestyle right off of your own property. People. What's impressed me over the years, and I'm blabbering a little bit because I'm trying to cover 20 years of my experience there in 45 minutes. So you'll have a recording of this. So if you want to go back and look at specific items that interest you more, you can do that. Not only are the people seem to be the happiest, is I love dealing with the people. Now, you do need to learn a bit of Spanish over time. It's not something you have to come in and be fluent right away, but they appreciate your effort to try to speak your language, no matter how much you mangle it like I do. Because I was working with the builder and he would never consider speaking English. So I knew I had to learn a little bit. So I would have to rate the people and the welcoming atmosphere that I got from the minute I got there in 2002 as one of my favorite things. The rest is a lot of maybe material things, but it's important to know that you're not going to be looked upon as a leech in their country taking anything. No, they understand you're coming. You're probably bringing opportunity. You're probably bringing some money into their economy, and just the reaction you get from them is very, very nice. It is a democrat. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic, just like the United States. So actually, the interesting part about that for the government, last year they had 13 different parties, not just Republican and Democrat, right? They had 13 different parties. So talk about talk about an interesting government process. You'll be quite amused as time. But you know what's really interesting is that because it's so large and so many factions, it's slow, and it's good to have a slow government. You don't want changes on a dime like we're seeing in so many places right now. The cultural arts, I would have to say culturally, if that's something that interests you a lot, you can get that in San Jose for sure. The theaters, museums, and all that stuff is basically in the city. Now you can get from Grandview to San Jose in about an hour and a half. I take a bus a lot of times. I catch the local bus for our town is called Sekiris, and it cost me $3 to go into San Jose. So whenever we have the need for cultural arts, we can do that. Here's more about the government. I talked already about abolishing the military. CAFTA was a real interesting experiment. That was a democratic experiment. I don't think look, we all have seen governments full scale right now, right? And can you imagine anything less productive than a government-run union, right? And that's what Costa Rica used to be. Everything was government-run, the telecommunications, the bus, everything. CAFTA was a Central America Free Trade Agreement where they were going to bring in competition. Trust me, that was a hot topic. The unions were totally against that. The longshoremen there at the shore and everything. So the government was a little bit afraid to make that decision. So they actually had a democratic referendum. And it says, okay, whoever wins, if it's 50.1%, they're the winners. And that's what happened. They won for CAFTA, and trust me, it completely changed Costa Rica for the better. When I got there in 2002, it was quite third worldly. Cell phones were hard to get, just on and on. It did not bother me. Okay. I really didn't care. But I did know that a lot of people moving from Canada or from the United States wanted a little bit more stuff they were used to, things a little bit easier. So over the years, I mean, we've got fiber optic internet for cell phones and computers, you name it, we've got it. So when you come to Costa Rica, it's not like going back into the dinosaur age. It's everything's very modern and very easy. but cheaper. That's important. Costa Rica is a tiny country, and I think they have something like 28 different ecological zones. Uh, the major difference on the Caribbean is our weather. Most of the country has a 6 months wet and 6 month dry season. And in some places on the Pacific during the dry season, it's really, really hot. It's so dry, the leaves completely fall off the trees. It's kind of like wintertime, except hot. So the trees, the leaves fall off the trees. The beaches get super hot to walk on at noon. We don't have that. The mountains, the Talamanca Mountains, separate the Caribbean coast from the rest of the country. So instead of the wet and dry seasons, we have two wetter months. July and December tend to have more rain. Other than that, it's just a very, very pleasant temperature. It's about, low 80s during the day, mid 70s at night. That's pretty much all year round, plus a little rainier times in July and December. So you don't have that in the rest of the country. And I think that's something that really sets us apart as far as comfortability in living. You're out on your porch all year round because it's just beautiful and green and pleasant weather. We don't need AC, we don't need heat at Grandview Estates. Basically orient your home properly, get our breezes that come in off the ocean. We're about, as a crow flies, about 14 miles in off the ocean. Orient your home to catch those breezes, some fans in the house, you're good to go. That's another big thing that you're not paying for, right? I don't know what your gas bill is this winter. Or, I used to burn wood, 8, 10 cords of wood. I don't miss that. I enjoyed it for a time, but at my point of life there, chopping eight cords of wood by hand wasn't exactly something that was a lot of fun. So you don't have to worry about that, you Canadians especially. The port expansion, Mike's other property he has is very close to this port expansion. In a nutshell, what happened is Panama Canal was widened, but it still is not wide enough for post-Panamax ships. So they couldn't go through the Panama Canal. They needed a location to redistribute their cargo from the container boats, container ships. So they started that in Moline. That was one of the big deals with CAFTA to let that happen. And they've got the first of their islands built. It's in total use. It's really changed the economy to a huge degree in our area. We're, like I said, 14 miles from the port. And what that has done is just improve life to such a degree for all the locals. The kind of work that's there, the quality of work that's there, the type of homes that the workers are able to build now. So our Caribbean coast has changed drastically in the best of ways in the last 20 years. Free trade zone. That's an interesting subject for people who want to do a business, and they're encouraging people to come in and invest. And it's mainly for exportation. They want you to start a business that I think it's like 75% of your business should be for exportation, but they're encouraging people to come in so the locals have a place to work. And, the exportation for the country is better. And so if you're interested in that sort of thing, there's an opportunity there for, I've had several people interested in holistic type products, right? I mean, our fruits and vegetables and everything that's wild in the jungle that provides medicine is available. So people are interested in the holistic products to ship around the world. So there's an opportunity for people too, if you're business minded. Exports are up. Everything's growing in Costa Rica. 80 million. Yep, the cruise ship industry is another big deal. I mean, they went from like 100 ships a year to 400 or something like that. Uh, Here's an interesting thing. You may not be so interested in hydroelectric dams, but a couple things is Costa Rica is really on the forefront of carbon neutrality. A lot of people seem to find that very important, but Costa Rica is on the forefront of that for the last 30 years or so, because they have so many great rivers to capture power. What they put a new dam in behind our project basically, because the Limon province is growing so much, they know they're going to need more electricity. So they invested in a huge dam. Uh, they're not using it all yet, so it's actually providing some income for the country. They're shipping some of that extra power down to Panama and up to Nicaragua. Resorts and developments, and an international airport. There is an international airport in Limon at the moment. The only limitation is it's for jets that I think 18 passenger jets is about the limit. It's not quite big enough land wise at this moment to get 747s and stuff in there. So, but that's on the books. They're working on it. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but sometime in the future it will. Until then, you basically fly into San Jose and you come on out to Grandview Estates. Here's more about the project. That's a pretty cool aerial view of Limon and Moline. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous city. I mean, the waterfront there is definitely beautiful. Here's a picture of the island that they built in the port of Moline, and you'll see it working a ship right there. I think they have 3 islands planned. They actually built this island. They used to go by my house with these huge rocks. I had no idea what they were doing, but for years they were building this island with rocks. So there's the first one. We talked about the weather a little bit. Yeah, there's the average weather. We got about 80 to 120 inches of rain. It probably sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but believe me, you can have 20 inches in 1 week. So it's an interesting thing. If you have a metal roof and you hear one of these Costa Rican rainstorms, you think something broke, but it's just normal stuff. I think that's one of to me, because I lived in New Hampshire, I've lived in Pennsylvania, and I really got tired of those winters. New Hampshire, especially, from October to April. I knew what I was doing on the weekends, most weekends, shoveling snow or trying to get the ice off of the sidewalks. I'd never missed that. Had I known how nice it was to live in a beautiful climate like this, I would have done it a long time ago. One thing I do notice though, especially folks from Canada, they're so cold-blooded. They have such an ability to absorb that up there because they live in it. It takes a little time to acclimate. First, it seems a little bit hot, but once you get used to it, I think what I'm trying to get at is, for me, the quality of life is so much better because I'm an outdoor guy. I love gardening. I love all that stuff. Horseback riding, you name it. If it's outdoors, I like it. And the quality of life is better when it's warm every day. Okay, we're going to get to our Grandview Estates. Here's the front gates to Grandview. Here's the location. I think I can zoom in. Well, I'm not sure. Let me try. Afraid to try anything after my last experience, but there's San Jose with my cursor. So you fly in there at the moment, you come over the mountain and through the woods, you come over to Grandview. Like I said, it's about on average to the airport. The airport is not actually in San Jose, it's in Alajuela, which is a little bit west of San Jose. Average trip has been 2 hours and 15 minutes for me over the years, but they're working on a new road, basically starting here in Guapolis out to Limon. So that's going from a 2-lane to a 4-lane highway. It's pretty much done. They got some more bridges to put in, but it'll be done very, very soon. So I think the I think the time going to the airport will shrink at least to maybe an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. So it's not that bad. Here's the port of Limon. Here's Moline. That's where that island was built. So it kind of orients you to the country. There's Panama to the south and Nicaragua's to our north. I'd love to spearfish all over the country. So I can go from our place in Grandview the whole way over to the Pacific side here for a weekend or two and go fishing with my friend over there. I can drive there in 6 hours. So exploring the country really will be a lifetime thing because there's so many different zones, but it's not like going from New York to California. It's a lot quicker. Here's some pictures from Grandview. We have our own volcano. Thank goodness it's 35 miles away, so I think it's a pretty safe location for us. But it's a really cool feature to be able to wake up in the morning and see a smoking volcano in your backyard. Here's our, up in the corner here, that's our waterfalls that we have. One of them, we have small ones, but this is a nice one we can swim in. It's about 8 foot deep here below the waterfall. So that's open to everybody. I kept the path, an easement open to that. So all residents of Grandview can access that whenever they want. The good thing is there's no cell phone coverage there, so you've got to leave your phone at home. This picture down here, in bottom left, is out to the Caribbean coast. You can see the water a little bit. If you do have a view at all, that's basically what it is in the morning. You can see the sun shining on the water. Here's our pool. We do have one pool in place and a little clubhouse for folks who want to swim in that. I mean, most of our lots have a stream, so you can have your own little pool right in your backyard as well. Here's my son again, Sean, and there's a monkey. We have all the monkeys Costa Rica have. We have this is a white-faced monkey. We have squirrel monkeys, and we have the howler monkeys. And they're in our backyard. It's an awesome thing to see. We are a gated community. By that, I mean we just have a main gate that keeps people just from wandering around. So it's basically for only the owners. We have a code there, so you plug that in to gain access to the community. Our lots, we don't have any more 5-acre lots left. We do have, our lots are 1.25 to 2 acres right now. Here's a picture of our pool and community center. The ocean views. All these other activities are available. Fishing, hiking, and area poised for explosive growth. One thing that I've done over the years when I'm talking to people, I like to suggest to look at Grandview from an investment standpoint primarily, because it's still a location that it's not only a living situation, but it's also an investment situation. Okay, everything that I've purchased over the years has gone up 100, 300%, and I don't see that changing, especially with the way things are going today. So people who want to just invest in a lot and hold on to it maybe for a plan B and in a few years or whatever, rest assured that real estate prices are going nowhere but up. So if you invest now, you can be assured that it is a true investment. I have friends of mine who sell property on the other side of the country, and the honest ones will tell the people, you know, it's really not an investment situation. Why? Because they're priced at $45 a square meter. We're priced at maybe 16 a square meter, maybe a little bit less. Their home building prices are 125, 150 a square foot. Our home building prices are $75 a square foot. So when you invest in Grandview at that rate, you have nowhere to go but up over the years. So I think that's the smart way to look at it, that worst that can happen is you're making a good investment. We have our roads, water, electricity already in place. There's a community center down at the road. This is the main road that goes to Limon. As I mentioned, we have high-speed internet. We have fiber optic internet. But, you know, things are changing. I mean, Starlink is available in Costa Rica now. And, that's probably as dependable as you could possibly get, right? A tractor trailer is not going to knock that telephone down, pull down and knock your fiber optic over. So there's lots of ways to communicate today. And trust me, over the years, when I moved there in 2002, we had the internet where it's like dial up. You go to load a page and it takes 15 minutes for a picture to pop up, right? That's where we started. So today to have fiber optics, incredible. It's another one of those things that make people comfortable. Um, There's an example of a couple of our homes there. Uh, it's really interesting, the style of homes. You can do pretty much whatever you like, but the important thing is to make sure that you build properly. As a warm location, termites are alive and well. So everything we do is with the proper woods. These rafters that you see are actually metal. So everything in there is termite proof and pretty much maintenance free. You can have your architect draw up your building and our builder can build it for you. I don't do the building anymore. I started out because I wanted Grandview to get off the ground. I can't tell you over the years, folks, how many projects started out and they ended up with nothing but a gate. So I thought, well, listen, I need to supervise the buildings because Latin Americans' attention to detail is a little different than North Americans, okay? So the buildings would be beautiful, block and concrete, solid as a rock, but the finished carpentry and things like that were a little rough. And that's what I know Americans, 'cause I was a yacht carpenter on some multi-million-dollar yachts. So, some of that rough cut carpentry didn't set well with me. So I actually trained up a guy who was a great builder to begin with. Everything was great except his finish work because he was never held to that standard before. But he's learned over the years. And when he's done building the house, your punch list of things that need to be touched up is minuscule. So if you use my builder, great. If you don't want to use my builder, use whoever you want. You don't even have to build. You can just hold on to the lot as an investment. It's up to you. To show you how things are different, though, when they come to build, like this house on the left, they live on site during the week. So, and the owner, the owner of the construction business lives there as well. So everybody's up at 6 a.m. till 6 at night. You know where they are. Nobody's hungover. Nobody's showing up late for work because they live there, and the boss is on site with them. So the building goes very, very well. Maybe 6 months to build a normal size home, 1,000, 1,200 square feet. That's all it is, because they live there, and it's not time driving back and forth. We started in phase one, which is in the top, and so it comes from the top down to the bottom. Phase 1, 2, and 3. We're sold out of those. We have 121 lots in total. I have 29 left in phase 4. You see phase 4 down there. Let me zoom in on that since I know that works. Oh boy. There we go. You can see phase 4 down there at the bottom. The road runs down through the center. And actually there's two kind of different areas. This left side was more open as pasture ground. The right side is just total wood. So you just make your lot look however you want. And I have great videos of that process too, if you want to see those. So the impetus as well, folks, is 29 lots. We're the only project to this day of this type on the Caribbean of Costa Rica. I haven't seen anybody else start up. And I think an important aspect to that as an investor is that once we sell out phase 4, you're not going to be competing with developers to sell anything. I know guys on the Pacific side literally have thousands of lots. So resales and competition with the developer are going to go on for decades for sure. Once we're done with the 29 lots, we don't have plans to to do any more with Grandview. So anything to be sold or resold will be from the investors. I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, here's a map of phase 4 as well. You see the orange are sold. Our lots range from 1.25 to 2 acres. And here's the cool thing. The price, I think the price list is next. If you look at the price list, most of the lots are priced at 99,000. We have a few premium lots there for 125. What happened is at first I was pricing everything per square meter. That just didn't work out because my conception of what something was worth to somebody who came to visit was different. So I said, we knew as a business what we needed to make for our investment. So we said, let's just price the lots at one price. Here's an advantage to people who react quickly. As you can see, the first lot here is 1.39 acres. And you have some lots down here that are actually the biggest one is 2.1 acres. No, 2.31. Okay. So for the same amount of money, you're almost getting a whole nother acre there. And it's not because they're deficient or less than, it's just the way it is. So people who react quickly are going to get more land for their money, basically. So I really like to guide people based on their needs because, for an example, in phase 3, before we even had a road, we had a doctor, had plenty of money. He did not want, we had some great views. He didn't want views. He wanted to be down in the bottom, away from everybody, surrounded by nature. And that was his choice. So when we talk together, I can help guide you towards which lot may be the best for your needs and desires. Okay. Because we do have a good variation based on this landscape of just some differences that you wouldn't know unless you were there as much as I was. So I can help you do that. So there's the pricing, 99,000 or 125, depending on the lot. In-house financing, 10% down. You can hold and reserve the property for 45 days. If you come down and after viewing you're not satisfied, 100% of your deposit gets returned. That doesn't happen too often, but if it does, that's okay. Once you say, yes, this is the place for me, 25% down, and then you start your 8.5 fixed interest on a 10-year term. Of course, you can pay off anytime you want with no penalties. And listen, there's no pre-approval or loan documents. So how can you beat that? Okay, now we're back to the questions and answers. I'm here for as long as you want. Just give me 1 minute to stop that. I'm going to go to the Q&A. Okay, Mike, anything that I missed that I should have covered?
I don't think so. Very comprehensive, great information. So let's see what people are asking about.
Okay, thank you, sir. Grant payment. Okay, I'm looking at the. Good to see you, Mike, tonight. Springfield. I guess I'll just go down. True about the Pacific. Besides all the fun activities, it's Caribbean side much better value than the Pacific side. Oh, absolutely. Every time I've been over there, and I love all of Costa Rica. I go all over the place. My thought when I come back to Grandview is we've got the best deal in the country by far. Because I spy on people, Mike, right? I'll zip in there and they
Yeah.
spy on me too. They come in.
Sure.
And when I get back to Grandview, I just say, man, this is really the best bang for your buck that I see in Costa Rica by far. And one of the reasons is, just to put an explanation to it, we purchased before anybody cared about the Caribbean. They thought, who would ever buy anything over there? So the pricing was good. So we've kept that pricing reasonable. We had to build roads and things over the years. So as that increased, we had to increase our prices somewhat, but we've never had to go from the 16 a square meter to 45. So right there's a huge difference. Listen, I was looking around for a little place in San Jose. It's $100 a square meter, anywhere in the Central Valley. So compare that to 16. It's a big deal. Crime stats. Listen, Limon is a port city. If you want trouble, go in Limon 2 in the morning and hang out at the bars and you'll find it. Where we're at, you might have some monkeys breaking into your garage. I don't know. It's probably about all you have to worry about. Very happy to hear. Yeah, no AC. I said there's an acclimation process. The only people that put it in, I really suggested they don't because it's quite a few $1,000s. They've never used it. They just have never used their AC. They put it in and just once your body acclimates to the temperature, it's
And by the way, the correct ceiling fans are so effective. Like a lot of ceiling fans are decorative and the blades are perfectly flat and they don't really move the air. So what you want is you want a ceiling fan that either has, tiltable blades or one that actually has them tilted so you get air of movement. They're not decorative, they're functional. With appropriate ceiling fans, we found that our life in Nicaragua was very comfortable in all but the most extreme, hot, humid days where we did turn on our air conditioner in the bedroom. But other than that, yeah, a great ceiling fan is phenomenal.
we bought them at Lowe's and we took them down. They were actually two fans on one post coming down that you could angle out. So they angled out that way with the two fans, and it was perfect. And the other thing we've done is to put a escape hatch for air up there. So at the vault,
Yeah.
put a screen at the top, so all that hot air has a place to go. And we were very comfortable. I did have one small window AC in the bedroom, just in case you got that hot night where it would do some good, but it was not used very much.
Right.
Okay. Is the region away from flight paths? Do not want to hear. No, I've never heard any planes. No. Trucks? You're not going to get away from the trucks in Costa Rica, unfortunately, when you live near the highway there. But that's just in the background. It's not something that bothers you. How much is rental of one bedroom? The folks who are renting their places on Airbnb and VRBO are getting 70, 80 to 100 a night, depending on the house itself. My business partner, William, built a beautiful spa, 2-bedroom spa. I think it was 200 a weekend. And he couldn't, he hated it was so busy because he didn't realize how much work it was to, get that ready for each weekend and all the work it takes for people. But that thing was totally booked. I can relate, Brian. I need to have an income to make it happen. That's the key for me is to do uh, the remote working. Try to find a job that you can do it online and bring that with you. Because even if you could get a job in Costa Rica, the wages are so different. That's why it's cheap to live there. We're paying our workers, the bricklayers and things like that, block layers, they make $4 an hour. So, you're not going to go down there and find an income that's very exciting. So that's all I can suggest is try to find an online sort of job where you can work remotely. Yes, we have green. It says with all the rainfall, the floor is pretty much green. Yes, it's green all year round. One of the weird things, you would think that with that surroundings, you'd be eaten alive by mosquitoes and bugs. You can sit on the porch at night with the porch light on, and there's no bugs. I mean, that just blew my mind. Well, Mike, you're a Pennsylvania guy. You try
Yeah.
to sit on your porch at night in May with a light on, you'll be eaten alive. So my wife explained it to me that she thinks it's because there's such a balance between the wildlife, the birds, and I mean, you got these toads on your porch that are this big. They probably eat 10 pounds of bugs in a night. So it's very, very very beautiful climate to be in. What grows specifically? More healthcare centers, supermarkets, all, yeah, all that stuff. Maybe not so much the healthcare. That's really a government thing. Although all the doctors and dentists do have a side business. Um, but yeah, the supermarkets and everything that's service oriented is just growing and growing. And the thing is, you saw the Port of Limon, our main road that goes to San Jose, runs about a mile away from Grandview, and you can just watch the effect that this growth of Limon has had because it's coming up the road, right? More and more towards San Jose. So, year after year it's just growing and a
And it
lot of
means
supports.
convenience, right? And it means convenience, right? The first time I went there in 2004, 2005, I mean, you were kind of out, by yourself for a lot of that drive, right? There was just not a whole lot around. And, now there are gas stations and supermarkets and so the health facilities there and Sequeira's are really tremendous. And those are the kinds of things that happen with this, infrastructure improvement. They improve the road, they improve the port. And so now all of a sudden you get, more, social infrastructure as well as the physical. And that's really a tremendous benefit. You will be off the main road. You will be in this incredible, I would say, jungle paradise. It is
Mhm.
absolutely stunningly beautiful. And you're right about the weather. The weather is, I mean, you're up enough that you actually get some coolness and some breeze, which is very, very refreshing. But it's green the whole year round too. So that there's some neat elements to that. But you're 15 minutes away from a nice grocery store, right?
Yeah,
So you've got kind of the best of both worlds right there, all in a very small area. And that's largely due to the investments that the country has made in the port itself, right? But then in the connecting infrastructure back to San Jose as well.
You hit it right on the head, Mike. And the thing is, you never really know with that kind of growth what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
The growth, begets growth. So, all of a sudden this is popping up, that's popping up. And listen, the Costa Ricans are awake too, and different types of businesses than they've ever thought before. And
Yeah.
especially when it's
And
oriented towards tourists.
right. And I mentioned supermarket. I mean, like if that's your thing, that's your thing. If it's not, there are tremendous amounts of local markets. In fact, you've got this incredible university, an agricultural university down the road. They do a ton of work in that area, helping folks to farm organically. And so your ability to get, organic fruits and vegetables,
Mhm.
hormone-free meats, cheeses, yeah, I mean, you can get all that in the local markets, but there's actually a growing business in Costa Rica to produce those for export as well. So there's a lot of really important health oriented, I would say forward thinking business there as well. And I want to just come back to that other question about the I need a job kind of thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
you definitely want to work remote. You probably could not get a work permit in the local economy, right? They're probably not going to give you a work permit to work there, but there is one other opportunity. If you saw a way to start a business, right? There was something you were passionate about doing, and you could start a business. That would also be another way to approach the idea of income. Obviously, it's a lot riskier. You're starting a business, right? But that would be the other thing that I think would be important to recognize as an opportunity there.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. You hit another good point too. It's Earth University is down the road.
Mhm.
If you want to go there and avail yourself of their library, of their teachers, you can walk in and they're going to guide you with whatever you want. We were doing some tree work, and I spent countless hours working with those guys for free, right?
Right.
And the country itself, no GMO products. Okay, they
Yep.
banned those. So that's forward thinking. Earth University has the largest seed bank in Central America. So they're really jealous to make sure that the native species don't get mixed up. So, and there's actually another Katy University. With them together, they've preserved it's in Turrialba. they've
Okay.
preserved all the heritage plants that are in Costa Rica. And now they're hosting people from Africa and any other tropical type country. They're coming over and they're helping the whole world, keep the food line unblemished to
Yep.
the best they can. So that's the forward thinking. It's funny because Costa Ricans seem rather simple, but they've been so ahead of everybody else for the last 20 or 30 years. I think, from what I understand, it's one of the only countries in the world where you take a satellite photo and it's greener than it was 30 years ago. So there's been a lot more deforestation in other places. Let me see what else we got here. I'm thinking of,
Hey, Gil,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna jump. I gotta go. I know you're gonna stick around. This is your turf. You're killing it. Keep doing it. And really, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Gil has really demonstrated, year after year for a couple decades his commitment to seeing this project through, and he has. So if you decide to go visit, I would hope that you will. You'll be in great hands with Gil. Gil, thank you for all you're doing and all you're gonna do. And with that, I'm going to sign off, but you're good to go, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike.
All
Appreciate your
right.
help.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Good night. Okay, let me cover some of the more of the questions here. Cost range per square foot. Yeah, I didn't mention that, did I? I did. It's $75 a square foot, basically. And you have to remember, one of the most important things to wrap your head around is that this is not the US, it's not Canada. So just because you take a window out of that wall and replace it with block, you would think that there'd be a difference in price. No. The $75 a square foot, you can basically calculate from the roof eaves. So if it's 1,000 square feet, under the roof eaves, you're talking $75,000. Solid block, concrete, all the block have rebar in. We build to seismic standards because that's the one thing Costa Rica does have is earthquakes and tremors. So at Grandview, we went through a 7.2 earthquake and nothing was damaged. So that's the quality of building that we do. The ocean's 14 miles to the east of Grandview. And listen, you can write to me and I have a folder that I can send you of nice photos and maps and things like that. Or you can review this again. We're only 14 miles as the crow flies. HOA, yes, good question. Right now it's $50 a month. Basically takes care of the sides of the roads and the pool. How fast do you anticipate phase 4 selling out? Well, I'm hoping it's next week, but this has been, folks, I don't have to tell you about it. It's been a crazy few years, right? People are so interested and so desiring of a change. I think it's just a matter of people seem to be stunned, if I could put it in a word. I mean, Canada, United States has gone through some times we've never imagined. So people are readying themselves. And once the floodgates open, it's going to be a very interesting time. There are only lots. No, we don't have built houses. There's transportation. The bus system in Costa Rica is awesome. You would have to get from Grandview down to the main road, which is 1 mile. But from there, you could go all over the country on bus. It's very typical. Thank you. Barry, are you able to have more than one? Yes, you can have more than one house on a lot. A lot of people do mother-in-law quarters or something. There's some municipality restrictions to the sizing, but you can always work around those as well. What I like to do, now here's just something that is one of these things we talk about, the US being different. Not everything's black and white. It turns out that in our side of the country, if you build a home that's under 700 square feet, you don't even need to have a permit. That's considered more of a cabin. So you don't need an architect, you don't need a permit. you could come in and build 3 or 4 separate 700 square foot little homes and connect them all together. Where are the most monkeys to live next to? Um, the squirrel monkeys are down at lot 100 because it's a little more private, but the howlers are all over the place. You'll never know where they end up. We've got the toucans, parrots, macaws, sloths. You just never know. They're all over the place. We don't have, it says, do you have a time limit on building? No. You don't even have to build. You don't have to use us. Just do what you need to do. How is the culture within the gated community? Are there locals that have invested there, or is it all folks from the outside? No, we do. I would have to say the most interest lately has been from locals because the economy has grown so great in Costa Rica over the last 10 years. Now we're affordable. Back then, even though that we were very reasonably priced, we were probably out of the range of a lot of locals. But now that they're being more successful and the economy has picked up for them, we have locals, we have Canadians, we have people from other Caribbean islands. So just all over the place. Is long-term rental an option instead of short-term? Yes. Actually, we have a couple homes doing that right now. What's the rental earnings for a 2 bedroom, for example? I think the one that I'm aware of right now recently was about 1,400 a month. Because we're close to the port, we're finding that some of the administrators and supervisors of the mayor's businesses there, they're the ones, it's a half an hour drive. So it's not a big deal to zip down the road. And those are the folks that can afford 1,400 a month locally. I've known Mike in ECI for many years and he's been very successful. Yes. Yeah, I just got back from his place in Grand Pacifica, and yeah, it's a gorgeous spot as well. How far to get groceries? Okay, town is about 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. The town is Securities. There's 100,000 people in that town, so it's not just a village. We are the hub of agriculture on the Caribbean side. Plantains, bananas, pineapples. So it's an agricultural community, and that's one of the reasons why it's so reasonable to live there because it's not based on gringos who they, every gringo's a millionaire, right? They're not a bunch of gringos there. We're the minority by far, as opposed to many places on the Pacific. So the local economy is based on the agricultural type of community it is. That's why the cost of living is so much cheaper. I mean, you go into San Jose, if you love San Jose, great. That's a wonderful thing. But the cost of living there, to me, you could probably live in any US city and it'd be the same or more. There's no advantage economically to me in San Jose, well, except for the healthcare. But we definitely have an economic advantage on the Caribbean. Fruits and vegetables are everywhere. And it says, I assume you need a car. No, you could take the bus transportation. The only thing you would have to do there, you'd have to get the 1 mile that's from Grandview down to the main road. But we can grow as much organic fruits and vegetables as you want. So, and it's quick. You throw a papaya seed out, you're going to be eating papaya in about 6 months. So the weather's just perfect. Our soil is awesome as well. But everything that has a season, as you're driving down the road, it's still typical for the wives to be at home there. So they'll be out at the roadside, whatever's in season. If it's mangoes that time of year, they'll have a local stand, that grew in their backyard. So that's a big difference as far as healthy eating as well. Once you start eating like a local, I think you'll find it very enjoyable. What about supermarkets? Yeah, supermarkets, restaurants, it's not a problem. You don't get everything though. It's funny, I had people ask me about how come they don't have Campbell's soup here? because they would never eat Campbell soup. They make their own soups. That's 1,000 times better. With only 29 lots and no future lot sales, why partner at this late stage? Is there something planned after that? No, just that Mike and I, actually, the partnership kind of worked both ways. We were talking, and he asked me, he says, "Well, Gil, I'd love to help you finish up. I need some good help too. If Costa Rica is not for somebody, maybe you could help me get them situated in Nicaragua or Belize." I said, "Fantastic." So we're kind of just working together and trying to make an offer to whatever fits people the best. And listen, the most important is to get your boots on the ground. Okay, there's some investors that can very comfortably say, no, I just want to buy a lot and never show up. And we've done a lot of that and it's fine. And when they do show up, they always say, oh man, what a great investment. But typically the boots on the ground. So if you need to Nicaragua or Belize, Costa Rica, go there and see what you think. This is all more of a feeling than it is an analytical decision. Okay. When does healthcare kick in for a retiree? Well, you're not going to retire for from a Costa Rican job. I do believe it's 62. I do not drive. Well, just a golf cart down to the main road and you jump on the bus. That's not a hard thing to do. Is your income Social Security taxed in Costa Rica? No, that's the United States. I'm afraid, but the lots that are a bit too pricey for me. Well, you can build a home and buy the lot for $150,000. I don't know of anywhere in Costa Rica that's happening. Okay. Like I said, it's 45 bucks a square meter typically, and 125 for the building, and we're at 75. So thanks for joining, Mike. Good night. How deep is the pool? Yeah, it's 5 feet. It's not a real lap pool, but you could do that. Is there a beach nearby? Yes, in Limon. Playa Bonita is about 30 minutes away. Great restaurants right on the beach there as well. If you're a surfer, Playa Bonita is kind of known for its special curl to the wave or whatever that is because of the coral reef that's there. Okay. Do you have an estimate on closing costs? It's about 3.5% closing costs. That includes the lawyer. The building permit and taxes are relatively cheap. It depends on the size of the house. It's kind of like the United States where it's based on the assessed value. And that's an important thing as well. You don't want to go in and claim your house costs $150,000 because the assessed value is usually a lot less. So, you claim it as 75. Who would build my home? And again, about 75,000 to do so. 75 a square foot. My builder is Jose and Juan. Juan is the boss, and his kids work for him, and he's like family to me, and I recommend him very highly. You would love his product. Property taxes 0.025% per year. So a nice big house and lot will run you about 400 bucks a year. You guys have resources for using the investment to get permanent residency. Yes, you can. You can get permanent residency based on over $200,000 purchase, but a lot of times it's less than that. So the best residency is pensionado. Property taxes are 0.025. Are there places to stay when I come down to see the property? Yep. You can usually find one of our local homes to rent for a weekend or a week, or there's local hotels as well. So that's the end of the questions. Reach out to me at ECI Development. And listen, we're going to follow up. I've got a book. I can send you an e-copy of this. Okay, if you write to me at ECI Development, I'll send you an e-copy. And it's wasn't meant to win any prizes, but it was basically my experience of moving there as a gringo. If you decide to do a tour, we do tours. I can send you information about that. Typically, my wife and I like to do personal tours. We've tried, we've had up to 70 people on a bus. That's not a lot of fun. It's like herding cats. We've tried van loads. That's not a lot of fun either. We love to have personal tours. We call it a seminar tour because by the time you spend 2 or 3 days with me and my wife, every question you've had will be answered. And our goal is to, and you'll see from the map I can send you of the tour, our goal is to give you the feel for things because most people, you've built houses before, you know what clearing land is about. That's not the critical thing is, are you going to be happy there? So we like to take you around to try to give you in one weekend the feel of the Caribbean. And, usually you'll know whether it's a fit or not. So to me, that's the most important. You take a tour, we charge for it, but if you invest, we give you that money back. So it's really a no cost sort of thing if you're serious. So again, it's been great. I love talking to people about what we've done. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just write to me. We could set up a phone call at any time or email me. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Take care and God bless.